This location isn't really for walk-ins, ma'am. You'd be better off trying the South Branch. She didn't flinch, didn't step back, and didn't lower her gaze, just placed her black leather case on the glass counter, fingers steady on the clasp as if this wasn't the first time. I was referred by Senator Mitchell's office. Do you have an appointment? No. Then I'm afraid we can't assist you today. This area is for corporate clients. The word corporate landed softly, but it carried weight like a wall made of velvet, quiet, but still meant to keep people out. She didn't argue, didn't lean forward, didn't raise her voice. She simply adjusted the cuff of her sleeve like someone steadying herself not for a fight, but for something longer. In the corner, a teenage girl was live-streaming her morning routine. She hadn't meant to catch any of it, but her camera slowly shifted toward the front desk, almost on instinct. Something about the stillness felt intentional. A door opened at the back of the lobby. An older man stepped out, silver hair, navy suit, pale yellow tie. He looked like he belonged to a world where reputation was inherited and rarely questioned. What's going on here? She doesn't have an appointment. Says she was sent by a senator. Name, Dr. Amelia Washington. He raised an eyebrow, finally looking at her. Really looking. We have very clear standards for business clientele. I understand. And we tend to serve individuals who are more aligned with this environment. His voice didn't rise. His tone never wavered. But the message was unmistakable. She didn't respond. Just smiled quietly. Not bitter. Not amused. The kind of smile you give when you've seen this exact scene play out too many times before. Then she opened her case. Pulled out a single folded sheet of paper. No logo. No seal. Just clean, deliberate weight. I think you might want to read this before you ask me to leave. He didn't even get to the third line. He glanced at the letter, brows tightening slightly, but his fingers never turned the page. He held it like something delicate and unexpected. I don't know who you are, he said at last, voice carefully neutral. But our process doesn't change just because someone hands us a piece of paper. I understand. We schedule by appointment, through direct referrals, and only for clients who match our service model. It sounded rehearsed. A line he'd likely used before. Clean. Safe. Completely wrong. She didn't push back. Didn't object. She just tilted her head slightly, not in protest but in recognition. She'd heard this before. Then I'll wait, she said simply. He blinked, slightly thrown. Most people would have argued. Or walked out. She did neither. Instead, she took a seat, opened her notes, and read. Calm. Composed. In the corner, Maya, the teenager, live-streaming her morning, subtly adjusted her phone. Comments were starting to roll in. Why did they reject her? Yikes. This feels racist. Wait. Something's about to happen. Harrison stepped back into his office. The glass door clicked shut, soft but final. Like a scene change no one acknowledged, but everyone felt. Jessica at the front desk was visibly tense now. She kept glancing at Maya's camera. You probably shouldn't be filming, she said, trying to sound casual. I'm just filming my day, Maya replied, smiling slightly. But this feels like it might blow up. No one corrected her. Inside the office, muffled voices began to rise, controlled at first, then clipped. No one could make out the words, but the shift was obvious. Something behind that frosted glass had gone off script. 5 minutes later, the door opened. Harrison stepped out again, expression guarded, collar slightly askew. Ms. Washington, yes. I can speak with you now. Briefly, just to clarify a few things. She nodded. No hurry. As she walked past the front desk, she said quietly, just loud enough for Jessica to hear. Let's keep this professional. The meeting room was small, quiet. Frosted glass walls, leather chairs, filtered lighting. The kind of space built for courtesy, not truth. She sat, opened her folder, waited. I saw your mention of Senator Mitchell. Harrison began. You know him personally. I work with his office on public finance. In what capacity? As an independent policy advisor. And your firm is Washington Strategic Solutions. What exactly do you do? We handle federal consulting, public restructuring, internal audits, oversight compliance. The documents are here. She placed a file on the table. No theatrics, just quiet precision. I'd recommend reading this before we continue. He didn't reach for it. Are you trying to intimidate me? He asked. No, I'm giving you a chance to do the right thing. The room held still, then a buzz barely audible. His phone vibrated in his jacket. He checked it almost reflexively. One new email. Subject: Midwest Regional Appointment, Dr. Amelia Washington. He froze. She didn't smirk, didn't gloat. She just watched him with a calm that didn't need explanation. Outside the glass, Maya's viewer count passed 5,000. One comment stood out on screen. This is where it flips. He didn't ask her to leave. He asked for 5 more minutes, then 10. Then if she had time for a follow-up. By the end of the meeting, he wasn't giving instructions, he was taking notes. She didn't gloat. She offered insights. Calm, clear, prepared. She spoke with the quiet confidence of someone who no longer needed to prove anything but chose to anyway. When she stood to leave, he held the door open for her. Dr. Washington, I'd appreciate it if we could stay in touch, he said. There's a lot I could learn. She looked at him for a moment. Not with judgment. Just long enough for him to feel the weight of everything he'd said before. Then she nodded. I'm reachable. Outside, the lobby had quieted. Maya was gone. So was the camera. But something had shifted. Jessica stood as Amelia walked past, her posture different this time. Not stiff from tension, but from awareness. Ms. Washington, I'm sorry about earlier. Amelia didn't slow. She simply said, thank you, without turning around. That afternoon, the video clip surfaced online. The live stream had ended, but the internet never really does. Someone had screen recorded the whole exchange. The refusal, the tone, the moment the camera tilted. By evening, it had 70,000 views. By morning, 1 million. No shouting, no drama. Just a woman who stood still while a bank didn't. The comments poured in. That's what quiet power looks like. She didn't even raise her voice. Damn. Imagine rejecting someone appointed to oversee you. Corporate clients only hug cute. This is why representation matters. At 9:07 a.m., the bank issued a statement. Not an apology, just a clarification. But it was enough to show they'd felt the shift. By noon, Senator Mitchell's office released a short press note confirming Dr. Washington's appointment as Regional Oversight Director for Institutional Compliance in the private banking sector. The phrasing was deliberate. So was the timing. Some called it poetic. Some called it karma. She never commented. She didn't need to. She didn't post anything. Didn't join the online conversations. Didn't correct the headlines. Didn't amplify the praise. She just went back to work. The next morning, she was on a train before sunrise, coffee in hand, reviewing federal housing reports on her tablet. No entourage, no press. Just 2 hours of silence between cities. At the next oversight meeting, she listened more than she spoke. Took notes while others scrambled to reposition themselves. The same executives who once dismissed her file now quoted her in briefings, not out of guilt, but necessity. She never called it justice. She never called it anything. And maybe that was the quietest victory of all. A week later, a letter arrived at the branch. No return address. Inside was a short handwritten note. To the woman at the counter, I don't know your name, but I saw the way you stood there. I saw how calm you were, even when they didn't see you. I think I needed to see that more than I realized. Thank you, Maya. The note was never published, but it stayed in Amelia's drawer, folded carefully behind a photo of her father at his old desk. Back when dignity didn't need to be loud. She read it again before her next meeting. Then she stood, straightened her cuffs, and walked in. Some stories don't end with applause. They end with someone walking into a room that once tried to keep them out and staying.